If you were truly unhappy and uncomfortable and discontent with your scenario, you wouldn't be in it. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. Please understand me. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I'd be trying to go to bed thinking, how the these people have Ferraris. I want a Ferrari. I couldn't sleep.
Did Jailhouse recordings capture social media star Andrew Tate trying to bribe Romanian officials to get out of jail? Romanian lawyer Stefan Loredan comes on to break down the latest reports in the case. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Here on Sidebar, we have been carefully covering the ongoing legal situation of controversial social media star Andrew Tate. Tate is the former professional kickboxer, the self-help guru, the internet personality who has been heavily criticized for his seemingly misogynistic and controversial views. And we have reported that he was arrested in December in Romania. In fact, it wasn't just him. It was him, his brother Tristan, two women. They've all been detained for allegations of human trafficking and rape. More specifically, the Romanian investigative agency that's at the head of this, they're called the Directorate for Investigating Organized Crime and Terrorism, DCOT, said through a webcam business that's owned by the Tate brothers, these defendants, quote, created an organized crime group with the purpose of recruiting, housing, and exploiting women by forcing them to create pornographic content meant to be seen on specialized websites for a cost. And by the way, the Tates are still behind bars. They're still in Romanian jail. We know that when they were first arrested on December 29th, a court granted the prosecutor's request to keep the Tates behind bars for 30 days. Again, this is according to Romanian law. Tate appealed that decision. It was denied. And in fact, he kept appealing it, and the detention orders kept getting extended for another 30 days and another 30 days. So he actually just lost his third appeal and now will remain in jail until at least March 29th. But our understanding is this could be extended even further. And by the way, this is all happening while they haven't been charged with anything. It seems under Romanian law that they can be detained while the investigation continues. So this detention could extend for 180 days without being charged. But now, we have some important updates to get to, including secret recordings of Andrew Tate from jail. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? You know who I'm bringing in? I'm bringing in Romanian lawyer Stefan Loredan, who has been our expert on this case. And Stefan, you were the one who actually brought this update to our attention because we haven't heard anything about it. None of the, as far as I could tell, none of the American news outlets have been reporting this. I want you to kind of break it down for us. Apparently, there is a Romanian publication that came forward with allegations that Andrew Tate was doing something and saying something on the Jailhouse phones. Can you break it down for us?
Yeah. First of all, thanks so much for having me. So actually, the publication is called Gândul. I only took I took Gândul as a source of information for during the entire investigation phase for Andrew Tate's case, and I think they are a reliable source. So far, everything they said, it was on point, and it was matching the exact releases that we had from the authorities. But I would also mention that we are talking right now about some conversation that took place on the phone between Andrew Tate and one of his friends. Her name is Anna. But those phone calls are actually the phones that were allowed to him to give to his list of friends inside the prison. So in those conversations,
By the way, before we even get into this, number one, these are, if you know, these are phones that are allowed in the jail. Are they cell phones? Are they actually landlines? I mean, because, you know, typically we always think about in American jails, there's a landline, you get a call out, and we know those calls are being recorded. Are these calls always recorded? Do the inmates know that they're being recorded?
Yeah. So actually, it's a common practice to record those calls. It's not something that is specific to Andrew Tate's case. To be honest with you, I'm surprised how he didn't know about this or how he didn't protect his conversations, right? But yeah, to your point, is a common practice. Now, I don't know exactly whether they are using like old type of line calls or they are using like cell phones, you know. But one thing is for sure, DCOT has been recording all of his calls inside and outside of the prison. So
Okay, so do we know, so you said it's a call between him and an associate named Anna. Do we know when this call took place? And also, obviously, let's get into what he allegedly told her.
Yeah, I think it's one of the latest calls that he had with Anna. In fact, he did two mistakes. Or he made two mistakes. Sorry. So the first mistake was he's only allowed to speak with a certain list of people, but it seems like during those calls, actually the receiver was connecting him to other people as well. So that's one of the first mistakes. And the second, which is the transcript that we seen on the publication Gândul, is the conversation between him and Anna, multiple paragraphs where he says to Anna that, okay, just go and find those two politicians and tell them that if they will support our cause, they are going to get compensated once we get out. Which, as you can imagine, is something that can be considered as bribery.
I mean, that's exactly bribery. So do we know who these politicians are? Do we know if any acts were made in furtherance of that? Do we know if they actually were contacted on behalf of Andrew Tate or anything like that?
Yep. So we don't know yet if they've been contacted or if any actions. We know for a fact that two names were mentioned during this call, and I can tell you who are those two politicians. One of it is a male, and he's actually a leader of a political party. His name is George Simion. He's very well known for being very vocal in the Romanian press and being like a advocate for anti-corruption and things like this, and also a big protester, right? Like he's doing those big protests all over the world. And then the second one, she's a woman. I think if she's still an attorney, but she's also like a politician.
Okay. Do we know if it was to try to get him out of jail, pending the investigation, or for the charges to be dropped?
Okay, so the conversation were somewhere along those lines. Andrew Tate was asking his friend Anna to reach out to those politicians and make them join his cause by because and say to the public, because those people are vocal on social media, right, and say to the public that the Romanian system is corrupt, that DCOT is corrupt, that they are innocent, that there's no victims in this case, and this would look bad for Romania as a whole. And he was promising, again, he was saying that and make sure they understand that once the boys, which is referring to themselves, get out, they are going to get, the boys are going to compensate them.
Mm,
Okay, so that's how he
yeah.
was phrasing it.
I wonder, and we haven't heard any response from Tate's camp on this yet, because the reason I would ask that is I wonder if he would couch it and say, this conversation never happened, or there's nothing wrong with me getting people to advocate on my behalf. I didn't tell them to get involved in the actual case, but I just was telling them to be my kind of my mouthpieces. Although again, that's kind of problematic considering they're politicians. But have we heard anything from Tate's camp on this?
We haven't heard anything from their side. I mean, Tate fans, obviously, they are saying that, oh, he's just asking for support. That's it. He's going to compensate them for their time. But that's not how it works, right? You can't be inside the jail and try to contact politicians to join your cause by providing them with money, by giving them money.
Have we anything else on those recorded conversations that's come out that would confirm he engaged in sex trafficking or rape or anything like that?
No, so actually nothing to that nature that will incriminate them in regards to the charges that they are facing, to be honest with you. But it's just the act itself. And I also want to touch a little bit on how this is going most likely to be used against him. Now, remember that we already witnessed two arrest extension, right? And so far, there was no further proof, uh, further evidence given to the judge in order for those arrest extension. Now, the prosecutor has everything he needs. All he has to do is just go in front of the judge and said, Your Honor, since the suspects, being that they're under arrest, they are trying to bribe politicians to get on their cause, I would suggest just keep them under arrest for a longer period of time, because if they would be set free, that could affect the course of the investigation. So it's that easy right now for the prosecutor.
Based on what we're seeing, that's something that's seems like it could happen. If they're talking about the Tates being a danger, doing this would obviously be used against them. I actually, while I have you, want to talk about two related issues with Andrew Tate. I want to get your perspective on it. So on a separate note, there seems to be a difference of opinion between Tate and his team regarding Andrew Tate's health. So it's been reported that Tate's doctors found a lesion on his lung, and it's been described as a serious health condition. They indicated that it could be a sign of cancer. Tate's spokesperson actually came out and said that it could be a tumor. But then on Tate's Twitter, it was posted, quote, "I do not have cancer. My lungs contain precisely zero smoking damage. In fact, I have an 8L lung capacity and the vital signs of an Olympic athlete. There's nothing but a scar on my lung from an old battle. True warriors are scarred, nothing inside and out. As one of the most influential men on the face of the planet, it is important for the good of humanity that I live as long as possible. At my current strength levels, I estimate to survive for at least 5,000 more years. With this in mind, I take my medical care extremely seriously. I had a regular checkup organized in Dubai pre-detention. The doctors were extremely interested in the scar in my lung. They do not understand how I survive without treatment. They do not know the secrets of Wudan, but this battle has long passed." So the reason I think this is significant is because some have wondered, could he use a health scare as a pretense for him to get out of jail? Could he be released pending the outcome of the case? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have multiple thoughts about that. First of all, he's saying that the investigation that he has done, the medical checks, were done in Dubai, and that he needs to get out and get back to the Dubai hospital to continue the investigation, which we all know. And I think the judge, if I'm not mistaken, pointed out that, or somebody else, that Dubai has no legal treaty for extradition. So that's one of the reasons why this might happen. The second point that I want to add, I think he's just trying to contour more and more this victim profile over the internet, because now his fans will also have this motive to fight against the system. Oh, he's also sick, he has cancer, help him out, Romanian system is corrupt, how can you do something to somebody that is sick? Just giving motives to the people so they can fight more and more for his cause. I know for a fact that he requested this thing, like to be let out so he can go to Dubai and continue the investigation. And actually, the judge said that, okay, you can continue the investigation in Romania because we have hospitals. So he actually sent him to the hospital or something to do some checkings. And it turns out that after they were taking some, just some things to test it out from his lungs, it turns out that he doesn't have any cancer or anything related to that nature. So that thing is
So it doesn't look like he's gonna be released
no,
due to these health
no,
conditions.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, there's no chance.
Okay, so and Stefan, before I let you go, I have to ask you about something else. So Tina Glandian, who is Tate's lawyer, she's not, I guess, really operating in the Romanian law space as much as she's really being an advocate for him back here in the States. She went on Tucker Carlson's show on Fox News to plead his case. I just want to play a quick exchange.
Pretty obviously a setup, Tina. I mean, let's stop lying. These guys were super unpopular with the people in charge, and now they're in a Romanian jail under, quote, Romanian law. Like, obviously, no?
I think you said it yourself, Tucker.
So what you heard is basically him turning this into a political argument, if I'm understanding it correctly, that the Tates were specifically targeted because of their views, and they're now being held seemingly without any real justification. That's the way I interpreted that argument. That's Tina Glandian on Tucker Carlson's show. I'll give you about 30 seconds to respond to that.
First of all, I don't think she's doing any good to him. I don't think that that's the case. Yes, the fact that they've been super vocal over the internet and they are controversial might weight a little bit in the case right now, but I don't think that's the main reason why they are behind bars. There's definitely something going on, and they definitely have some evidence against them, because else they wouldn't bother for it.
And look, I can't fault her for doing this because Romanian law is very different than American law. I mean, in terms of the detention process, some could see, no matter how you feel about Andrew Tate, could see as problematic because usually you're arrested when there are charges brought against you, not you're arrested while waiting for charges and waiting for an investigation to ultimately bring evidence and, a continued detention. So I can understand people are confused about this, and we're going to continue to cover it. Stefan, thanks so much for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that's all we have for you here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.